The space station Harmony Bridge floated silently among the stars. It was huge and shaped like a wheel. Hundreds of beings from many planets lived and worked there. Some breathed normal air. Others needed special gases or strange temperatures. Jae-min, Kim wiped sweat from his forehead as he fixed a broken pipe. He was just a regular human engineer, 30 years old with short black hair and strong hands from years of work. His job was keeping the station running properly. "Hey Jae-min, break time," called his co-worker Hana, floating a water pouch toward him. Jae-min caught it with a smile. "Thanks. 2 more hours and I'm done for the day." Just then, the station's alarm began to wail. Red lights flashed along the hallway. "Attention all personnel," said a calm voice over the speakers. "Unknown vessel approaching. Emergency docking." Request received. Security teams to Bay 12. Jae-min looked at Hana. "That's the bay right below us." "We should finish this repair first," she said, pointing to the half-fixed pipe. "Let security handle it." Jae-min nodded, but curiosity pulled at him. Emergency dockings were rare. After they finished the repair, he couldn't help but take the elevator down to Bay 12, claiming he needed to check nearby systems. The bay was filled with security officers. Some were human like him. Others had scales, extra limbs, or glowing eyes. They all aimed weapons at the airlock door. Captain Dae-sung stood at the front, his uniform perfect as always. "Prepare for unknown contact," he ordered. Medical team standing by. The airlock hissed as pressure equalized. The door slid open slowly. Everyone gasped. A woman stepped through. At least she looked somewhat like a woman. Her skin was pale blue and seemed to shine like polished ice. Her hair floated around her head in crystal strands that glinted in the light. She wore a tight silver suit that covered her from neck to feet. "Help," she said, in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. "My ship is damaged. I need repairs." Frost formed on the floor where she stood. The air around her shimmered with cold. Captain Dae-sung stepped forward. "Welcome to Harmony Bridge. I am Captain Dae-sung. We can help you, but first we need to know who you are." "My name is Yuri," she said. "I am from the planet Nix-9. Whispers spread among the crew. Jae-min had heard of the Frostwalkers from Nix-9. They rarely left their ice planet. Their bodies were so cold that they could freeze anything they touched. That's why she wore the protective suit, to keep from killing everyone around her. "We'll help you," said Captain Dae-sung. "But you must stay in your protective gear. Our science team will—" A loud bang interrupted him. The lights flickered. The station shuddered. "Engineering report," the captain shouted into his communicator. "Environmental. System failure in Section 7, came the panicked reply. "That's Bay 12, sir. Temperature controls failing." Jae-min felt the air grow warmer around them. The station was designed to keep different areas at different temperatures for the various alien species. Something was breaking down. Yuri's eyes widened with fear. "No," she whispered. "My suit's cooling system needs the station's power to work properly here." Frost patterns formed across her silver suit. Cracks appeared in the material. "Everyone back!" shouted the captain. "Emergency evacuation!" But it was too late. With a sound like breaking glass, Yuri's protective suit shattered. Waves of extreme cold rolled off her body. Her true temperature was now exposed, nearly negative 200 degrees Celsius. "Stay away," she cried, backing against the wall. "Don't touch me." A security guard named Minho moved too slowly. As people rushed to escape, he bumped against Yuri's arm. The effect was instant and horrible. Frost raced across his body. In seconds, he stood frozen solid, his face locked in surprise. Another crew member, trying to help Minho, touched his frozen body and suffered the same fate. Panic filled the room. More people tried to escape, bumping into each other in the chaos. 2 more crew members accidentally brushed against Yuri. They froze immediately, turning into ice statues. "Seal the bay," ordered Captain Dae-sung from the doorway. "We need to contain this." Security officers aimed their weapons at Yuri. She held up her hands. "Please, I don't want to hurt anyone else." Jae-min watched in horror. The alien woman was not trying to harm anyone. It was an accident. He had been working on the environmental systems earlier. He should have checked them better. Just then, another bang shook the station. The lights went out completely. Emergency lighting kicked on, casting everything in dim red light. In the darkness and confusion, someone pushed Jamin from behind. He stumbled forward, falling directly toward Yuri. "No!" screamed Captain Dae-sung. Jamin crashed into Yuri, his hand grabbing her bare arm to steady himself. He closed his eyes, expecting the terrible freezing death he had just witnessed. Nothing happened. Jamin opened his eyes. He was touching Yuri's bare blue skin. He could feel its coldness, like touching dry ice. But he wasn't freezing. Everyone stared in complete shock. "How?" whispered Yuri, her crystal eyes wide. "How are you alive?" Jamin looked at his hand on her arm. "I don't know." Captain Dae-sung stepped forward cautiously. "Jamin, move away slowly." "Wait," said Jamin. "I'm fine, it's cold, but I'm not freezing." He carefully let go of Yuri's arm. His handprint remained on her skin for a moment before fading. He was completely unharmed. "That's impossible," said one of the security officers. "Frostwalkers freeze everything organic they touch." Yuri stared at Jamin with wonder. "In my entire life, I have never touched another being without killing them. What are you?" "Just human," said Jamin. "Just a regular human engineer." Captain Dae-sung ordered everyone except Jamin to leave the room. Through the glass windows, scientists and security watched in amazement. "Can you touch her again?" asked the captain through the communication system. "We need to verify this isn't a fluke." Carefully, Jamin reached out. Yuri hesitated, then extended her hand. Their fingers touched, then their palms pressed together. Nothing happened to Jamin. His skin reddened slightly from the cold, but he did not freeze. Tears formed in Yuri's eyes, instantly turning to tiny ice crystals that fell to the floor. "How is this possible?" she whispered. "I don't know," said Jamin honestly. "But I'm not afraid of you." The captain's voice came through the speakers again. "Both of you come to the medical bay. We need to understand this phenomenon." As they walked through the hallway, everyone kept their distance from Yuri. 4 crew members had died from her touch, yet Jamin walked beside her, unharmed and unafraid. In that moment, something changed in the relationship between humans and aliens on Harmony Bridge. For some reason still unknown, this ordinary human could do what no other being in the galaxy could do. He could touch the untouchable, survive the unsurvivable, and neither Jamin nor Yuri understood why. The medical bay of Harmony Bridge was busy with activity. Dr. Han-Sol Park moved quickly among machines and screens. She was the station's chief scientist, small in size but big in brain. Her hands worked fast as she studied the readings. "Please, hold still," she told Jamin, who sat on an exam table. "These sensors need to record everything." Jamin nodded. Thin wires connected his arms and chest to various machines. Across the room, behind a clear wall, sat Yuri. The blue-skinned Frostwalker watched with worried eyes. "Am I in trouble?" asked Jamin. "I didn't do anything wrong," Dr. Park smiled kindly. "No one is blaming you for anything. We just need to understand why you can touch her when no one else can." Captain Dae-sung stood nearby, arms crossed. 4 crew members are dead," he said flatly. "We need answers." Yuri's voice came through a speaker. "I am deeply sorry for what happened. I never meant to harm anyone." Her crystal hair shimmered as she lowered her head. "If you wish me to leave, I understand." "No," said Jamin quickly. "It wasn't your fault. The station's systems failed. Your suit broke because our equipment didn't work right." Dr. Park looked at her screen. "Fascinating," she whispered. "Jamin, your skin cells are producing something unusual." She pressed a button, and a large screen showed a close-up view of Jamin's skin cells. They looked normal except for tiny dots around their edges. "This protein isn't in our medical database," said Dr. Park. "It seems to create a microscopic shield on your skin." "Is that why I don't freeze when I touch her?" asked Jamin. Dr. Park nodded. "I think so, but here's the strange part. We tested blood samples from other humans on the station. They all have this protein too, but in very tiny amounts. You have about 100 times more. Captain Daesung frowned. Test it again, touch her skin to his and monitor everything. A technician opened the door to Yuri's room. Jamin walked in carefully. The temperature dropped sharply as he approached her. His breath came out in white clouds. "Are you sure about this?" asked Yuri. "I don't want to hurt you." "You won't," said Jamin with more confidence than he felt. He reached out his hand. Yuri slowly extended her blue fingers. When they touched, everyone in the medical bay held their breath. The machines beeped wildly. A thin layer of frost formed on Jamin's skin but quickly melted away. "It works," said Dr. Park excitedly. "Look at the readings. His cells produce more of that protein exactly where they touch her skin. It's like a shield that activates when it senses extreme cold." After more tests, Dr. Park explained her theory to Captain Daesung. "I think this might be from Earth's ice ages. Humans had to survive very cold periods in their evolution. This protein could be left over from that time, dormant in most humans but active in Jamin." "Why just him?" asked the captain. "Genetics are complex," said Dr. Park. "Maybe his ancestors lived in especially cold places. Or perhaps it's just a random mutation." Meanwhile, the news about the Frostwalker incident spread throughout the station. People were scared. Some demanded that Yuri leave immediately, in Yao. His office, Captain Daesung met with station leaders. "The question is what to do with her," he said. "She poses a clear danger." "It wasn't her fault," argued Jae-min, who had been invited to the meeting. "Our systems failed. Her protective suit would have worked if our equipment hadn't broken down." "Still," said Security Chief Minji, 4 people are dead. How can we ensure it won't happen again?" Jae-min stood up straight. "I'll be her handler. I can safely interact with her. She needs supplies, food, communication. I can help with all of that." "We should send her back where she came from," insisted Chief Minji. "Her ship is damaged," said Jae-min, "and think about what we could learn from her people. Frostwalkers rarely leave their planet. This is a chance to understand them better." Captain Daesung thought for a long moment. "Very well, she can stay. Until her ship is repaired, but under strict conditions. Jamin will be her official handler. She cannot move around the station without him." After the meeting, Jamin went to see Yuri in her new quarters. The room was specially prepared with temperatures set to match her home planet, cold enough that ice covered the walls. Jamin wore a thermal suit to withstand the cold, but his face and hands remained bare. "Thank you for helping me," said Yuri when he entered. "Your leaders want me gone. I understand their fear." "Fear comes from not understanding," said Jamin. "They're just scared because they don't know much about your people." Yuri nodded sadly. "Few do. We keep to ourselves on Nix 9 because of what our touch does. We built great cities of ice and developed advanced technology, but always alone. Have you never had contact with other beings before? Some trade, but always through protective barriers. No direct interaction." She looked at her blue hands. "Until you, I never knew what it felt like to touch another living being without causing death." Jae-min felt a sudden wave of sadness for her. "That must have been lonely." "It was our normal life," she said simply. "But now I wonder what else might be possible." Over the next few days, Jae-min spent much of his time with Yuri. He showed her around the station, always keeping others at a safe distance. People stared and whispered when they passed, but Jae-min ignored them. Dr. Park continued her research. She called Jae-min back to the lab for more tests. "I found something interesting," she said, pointing to a screen showing a complex chart. "The protein in your cells appears in human historical medical records, but it was much more common thousands of years ago. It's been decreasing over time as if humans don't need it anymore." "What does that mean?" asked Jae-min. "It means your body is producing something that was once common in humans, but has become rare, and it activates when exposed to extreme cold." She looked excited. "This could change how we understand human evolution and adaptation." Just then, a station-wide announcement came through the speakers. "Attention all personnel. A delegation From the Unified Systems has arrived. All department heads report to the main conference room. Dr. Park frowned. The Unified Systems? Why would they send a delegation here? News travels fast, said Jamin. They must have heard about Yuri and me. He was right. When he returned to Yuri's quarters, he found a message waiting for him. Both he and Yuri were ordered to attend a special meeting the next day. What do they want with us? Asked Yuri, worry clear in her voice. I don't know, said Jamin honestly. But something tells me our lives are about to get more complicated. That night, Jamin couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Yuri alone in her freezing room, about the strange protein in his body that let him touch her, about the Unified Systems delegation. Why would the most powerful political force in the galaxy care about one human engineer and one frostwalker? He had a feeling he would find out soon enough, and he wasn't sure he would like the answer. The main conference room of Harmony Bridge was filled with important people. Captain Dae-sung sat at the head of the table in his best uniform. Station leaders lined both sides. At the far end sat 3 visitors wearing black suits with silver
pins, the sign of the Unified Systems. Jamin felt out of place in his simple work clothes.
Beside him, Yuri looked even more uncomfortable. Everyone kept a careful distance from her except Jamin. Let us begin, said Captain Dae-sung. This is Tae-hyun Choi, Special Representative of the Unified Systems. Tae-hyun stood up. He was tall and thin with perfect posture. His eyes were sharp and missed nothing. Thank you for your welcome, he said smoothly. News of the recent events on this station has reached the highest levels of the Unified Systems government. He looked directly at Jamin and Yuri. A human who can touch a frostwalker without freezing to death is unprecedented. It's just a genetic quirk, said Jamin. Dr. Park explained it's probably left over from Earth's ice ages. Tae-hyun smiled thinly. Perhaps, but the implications are enormous. For centuries, frostwalkers have been isolated from the galactic community because of their deadly touch. Now it seems humans, or at least some humans, might be able to interact with them safely. Captain Dae-sung leaned forward. What exactly is your interest in this matter? The Unified Systems wishes to establish better relations with Nix-9, said Tae-hyun. Their planet has large deposits of quantum-stable ice, a key component for our new faster-than-light engines. Yuri spoke for the first time. My people are well aware of the value of our resources. That is partly why we keep to ourselves. We do not wish to be exploited. Of course not, said Tae-hyun quickly. We propose a fair trade agreement, and now with humans like Jamin who can safely interact with your people, we can finally communicate properly. Jamin frowned. Something felt wrong. I'm just one person. We don't even know if other humans have the same ability. That's why we've brought a team of genetic specialists, said Tae-hyun. With your permission, we'd like to study you both further. We might be able to enhance this trait in other humans, creating a group of special ambassadors to the Frost Walkers. After the meeting, Jamin and Yuri walked to her cold quarters. They could talk privately there. What do you think? Asked Jamin. They seem very interested in your people. Too interested, said Yuri. Her face was worried. The quantum-stable ice they mentioned is valuable, yes, but there is more to this. My people have lived in isolation for a reason. We developed many technologies that others might want. Jamin nodded slowly. They're not telling us everything. They see me as a tool to get to your people. Yes, and I worry about their plan to enhance this trait in other humans. Yuri looked at her blue hands. It sounds like they want to create special humans just to use them as go-betweens. That evening, Jamin was called to Dr. Park's lab. She looked excited but nervous. The Unified Systems scientists want to run new tests, she said. But I found something strange in your last blood sample. Look at this. On her screen was a microscopic view of cells. These are your cells from last week, she said. Then she showed another image. And these are from today. The special protein has increased by 20%. What does that mean? Asked Jamin. I think it's adapting. The more you're exposed to Yuri's extreme cold, the more your body produces the protective protein. She lowered her voice. The Unified Systems people don't know this yet. I wanted to tell you first. The next day, testing began. Unified Systems scientists took samples from Jamin and ran various scans. They tested other humans on the station too, looking for similar traits. While walking back to his quarters that evening, Jamin overheard two Unified Systems officers talking in a quiet hallway. He stopped and listened from around the corner. How soon can we start the procedure? Asked one voice. Once we have the full genetic profile, said another. The subject doesn't need to be willing. We can take what we need and produce the enhanced humans in our labs. And the Frostwalker? She'll be taken to the research facility. If we can isolate the freezing effect, think of the weapons we could create. Jamin's heart raced. He hurried to Yuri's quarters to warn her. We need to be careful, he said after telling her what he heard. They don't see us as people, just as means to an end. I feared this might happen, said Yuri sadly. My people have always worried that others would try to use us for weapons. Our touch is deadly, but we never wanted to be weapons. News spread through the station about the Unified Systems' interest in Jamin and Yuri. Some people saw new opportunities, others saw danger. In the station's dining area, Jamin overheard conversations. If humans can interact with Frostwalkers, that changes everything, said one trader. Think of the new markets. It's too dangerous, argued another. What if the Frostwalkers don't want contact? What if this leads to conflict? As days passed, more Unified Systems personnel arrived. On the station, they watched Jamin constantly. The tests became more invasive. They wanted tissue samples, spinal fluid, bone marrow. This is going too far, Jamin told Captain Daesung. I agreed to help, not to be a lab rat. The captain looked troubled. I understand your concerns, but the Unified Systems has authority. Here. Their interest in this matter goes to the highest levels. One night Jamin was working late in the engineering section when his friend Hana rushed in. She looked scared. Jamin, you need to hide, she whispered. I just heard the Unified Systems security team. They're planning to take you and Yuri, tonight, by force if necessary. They're calling it emergency research protocols, but really they're kidnapping you both. I need to warn Yuri, said Jamin, already moving toward the door. Be careful, said Hana. They have people watching her quarters. Jamin took maintenance tunnels to avoid being seen. When he reached Yuri's quarters, he found two guards outside. Using his engineer's access code, he entered through a service panel in the adjacent room. Yuri was surprised to see him coming through the wall. What's happening? We're in danger, said Jamin quickly. The Unified Systems plans to take us. Tonight. They want to use us both. Me for my genetics, you for weapons research. Fear showed in Yuri's crystal eyes. What can we do? Where can we go? Jamin thought fast. There's a supply ship docking in 1 hour. My friend Hana can help us get on board. It's heading to the outer colonies. We can hide there until we figure out what to do next. But my cold will harm others, said Yuri. Without my protective suit, I'm dangerous to everyone but you. I have an idea about that, said Jamin. But we need to hurry. Pack anything. Important. We leave in 30 minutes. As they prepared to escape, Jamin wondered if he was making the right choice. He was defying the Unified Systems, the most powerful government in the galaxy. He was risking everything for someone he barely knew. But when he looked at Yuri, he knew he couldn't let her become a weapon or a research subject. And he couldn't let himself become one either. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. Moving through the service tunnels of Harmony Bridge was not easy. The spaces were tight and dark. Jamin led the way with a small light. Yuri followed close behind him. The walls frosted over wherever she touched them. How much farther? Whispered Yuri. She had never been in these hidden parts of the station. Almost there, said Jamin. The supply ship docks at Bay 8. My friend Hana will meet us there. They reached a junction where 3 tunnels met. Jamin checked a small map on his work tablet. This way, he said, pointing to the right tunnel. Just as they turned the corner, Bright lights flashed in their faces. 4 Unified Systems security officers stood there with weapons aimed at them. "Stop right there," ordered the lead officer. "By authority of the Unified Systems, you are both coming with us." Jamin stepped in front of Yuri. "We've done nothing wrong." "This is not about right or wrong," said the officer. "This is about galactic security. Now come with us or we'll take you by force." Jamin looked around for an escape route. There was none. The officers moved forward slowly. "Please," said Yuri from behind Jamin. "I don't want anyone else to get hurt." One officer reached for Jamin's arm. In that moment, Yuri stepped forward, her blue hand outstretched. "Stay back," she warned. "You know what my touch will do to you." The officers hesitated. They knew about the Frostwalker's deadly touch. The lead officer raised his weapon. "This stun gun works even on your kind," he said. He fired. Yuri dodged, but the electric bolt grazed her shoulder. She cried out in pain. Frost exploded outward from her body in a wave. The temperature dropped instantly. The nearest officer screamed as ice formed on his uniform. He stumbled back, his weapon falling from frozen fingers. The other officers fired wildly in the sudden cold and confusion. One bolt hit Jamin in the leg. Pain shot through him as he fell. He felt blood flowing from the wound. "Jamin!" Yuri knelt beside him, careful not to touch his skin. "You're hurt." The officers were retreating from the extreme cold Yuri was now releasing in her distress. Ice covered the walls and floor around them. "We need to keep moving," gasped Jamin through the pain. "They'll bring more guards." "You can't walk," said Yuri. She looked at his bleeding leg, her face filled with worry. "The blood is coming too fast." Jamin tried to stand but couldn't. The wound was serious. He felt lightheaded from blood loss. "I might be able to help," said Yuri hesitantly, "but it's risky." "What do you mean?" "We Frostwalkers can control our cold to some degree. I can never turn it off completely, but I can make it less intense." She looked at his bleeding leg. "I could use a gentle cold to slow your bleeding, but if I get it wrong..." Jamin understood the risk. Too much cold would freeze him like the others. But he was losing blood quickly, and they needed to escape. "Do it," he said firmly. Yuri took a deep breath. "I'll try to be careful." Very slowly, she placed her blue fingers near, but not touching, the wound on his leg. Jamin felt intense cold spreading through his leg. It hurt terribly at first, then became numb. The bleeding slowed, then stopped as the cold sealed the wound. "It worked," said Yuri in amazement. She helped Jamin stand. He could walk now, though his leg was stiff. "Thank you," he said. "Let's hurry." They made it to Bay 8 where Hana was waiting nervously. "What happened?" she asked, seeing Jamin's injury. "Unified Systems Security found us," said Jamin. "Is the ship ready?" Hana nodded. "It leaves in 10 minutes. I talked to the pilot, Do-yoon. He'll help you, but it will cost you." "I have some credits saved," said Jamin. "Not money," said Hana. "He wants information. He works with a group that questions what the Unified Systems is doing. This whole situation interests him." They hurried to the supply ship, a small but sturdy vessel loaded with cargo. The pilot, Do-yoon Kang, was checking systems in the cockpit. He was older, with lines on his face and gray in his hair. "So you're the human who can touch a Frostwalker," he said, looking Jamin up and down. "And you must be the famous Yuri from Nix 9. "We need to leave quickly," said Jamin. "The Unified Systems is after us." "I figured as much," said Do-yoon. "Hide in the cargo hold for now. I know where we can go after we leave the station." Soon the ship detached from Harmony Bridge and moved away into open space. Jamin and Yuri stayed hidden among large containers. After some time, Do-yoon called them to the cockpit. "We're safe for now," he said. "I've set course for a small mining colony where I have friends. The Unified Systems has less control there." Jamin sat heavily in a seat, his injured leg throbbing. "Thank you for helping us." "Now about my payment," said Do-yoon. "I want to know what makes you special. Why can you touch her when others can't?" Jamin explained what Dr. Park had discovered. the special protein in his cells that protected him from extreme cold. Du-Yun looked thoughtful. That fits with some old stories I've heard. Did you know that according to some historical records, humans and frostwalkers might have met before, centuries ago? That's impossible, said Yuri. My people have been isolated on Nix-9 for thousands of years. Maybe not all of them, said Do-Yun. He pulled up an old image on his screen. It showed an ancient cave painting. In it, blue figures stood next to pink figures that looked human. This was found on Earth, in a place that was once covered in ice. Jamin stared at the image. You think humans and frostwalkers met during Earth's ice age? More than met, said Do-Yun. I think they worked together, maybe even lived together. He pointed to Jamin's leg. That protein in your body might not be natural evolution. It might be evidence of ancient genetic modification. That's a big claim, said Jamin. Why would anyone modify humans? To help them survive the extreme. Cold, maybe, said Do-Yun. Or to allow them to interact with frostwalkers. He turned to Yuri. What's the oldest history your people have? Yuri thought for a moment. There are stories of a time before Nix-9, when our ancestors lived on many worlds. But these are just old tales. Maybe not, said Du-Yun. What if your people and humans have a connection that goes back thousands of years? A connection that someone wants to keep secret? Jamin's head spun with these new ideas. Could it be true? Was his ability to touch Yuri not just random chance but evidence of an ancient link between their species? Yuri seemed equally surprised. If this is true, why don't our people remember each other? Good question, said Do-Yun. Someone might have worked very hard to erase that history. A sudden alarm blared through the ship. Do-Yun checked his instruments. We've got company. A unified systems patrol ship is following us. How did they find us so quickly? Asked Jamin. They must have tracked the ship when we left the station, said Do-Yun. He increased speed. We need to reach the mining colony. We'll be safer there. As the ship raced through space with the patrol ship gaining behind them, Yuri turned to Jamin. There's something else I need to tell you, she said quietly. Something about my people that few outsiders know. What is it? Asked Jamin. We frostwalkers aren't just ice dwellers, she said. Our bodies work differently from other beings. We process information like living computers. Our cold temperature is necessary for this. Living computers? Repeated Jamin in surprise. Yes. We can store and process vast amounts of data in our cellular structure. That's why the unified systems really wants us. Not just for the ice on our planet, but for what we can do. Du-Yun, who'd been listening, whistled softly. Now that's a secret worth protecting, or stealing. The patrol ship was getting closer. Their small supply vessel shook as warning shots passed nearby. Hold on tight, called Do-Yun as he pushed the engines harder. This is going to be close. The supply ship shook hard as another blast from the unified systems patrol vessel passed close by. Do-Yun's hands moved quickly over the controls. We can't outrun them, he said grimly. Their ship is faster. Jamin looked at the screen showing the patrol ship gaining on them. What can we do? The mining colony is still 20 minutes away, said Do-Yun. We won't make it there before they catch us. Yuri stood up, her blue face determined. I might have a way to help. How? Asked Jamin. Remember what I told you about my people being like living computers? She said. We can also connect with actual computers. If I can link with the ship's systems, I might be able to give us more power. Do-Yun looked doubtful. This old ship's computer is very basic. Basic is enough, said Yuri. Show me where I can access it directly. Do-Yun pointed to a panel near the navigation controls. The main system hub is there, but Yuri was already moving. She placed her blue hands on the metal panel. Frost immediately spread across it. The ship's lights flickered. What's happening? Asked Jamin in alarm. She's cooling the computer systems, said Do-Yun with sudden understanding. Computer chips work better when cold. That's why all big data centers need cooling systems. The ship's engines roared louder. Their speed increased dramatically. "It's working!" shouted Do-yoon. "We're pulling away from them." On the screens, they could see the patrol ship falling behind. Yuri kept her hands on the panel, her face intense, with concentration. Ice crystals formed in patterns around her fingers. "Amazing," whispered Jaemin. "You're not just cooling it. You're helping it process information, aren't you?" Yuri nodded without removing her hands. "My people evolved to process data in our cellular structure. It's how we survived on our freezing world." After 10 more minutes, the patrol ship was just a small dot on their sensors. 5 minutes later, they reached the mining colony, a cluster of domed buildings on a small moon. Do-yoon landed the ship in a hidden dock away from the main settlement. "My friends will meet us here," he said. "They don't like the unified systems either." As they prepared to leave the ship, Jaemin noticed something strange. Where Yuri had touched the ship's computer panel, delicate patterns of ice remained. But mixed in the patterns were tiny dots of light, like microscopic stars. "What are those?" he asked, pointing to the lights. Yuri looked embarrassed. "Data fragments. When I connect with a computer, I sometimes leave traces of information." She waved her hand over the panel. The lights disappeared. "A small leak of my memory storage." Do-yoon's friends turned out to be a group of researchers and former unified systems scientists who had broken away to work independently. Their leader was Dr. Sun-hai, an older woman with sharp eyes and quick movements. "We've heard about you two," she said when they met in an underground lab. "News travels fast, even out here." Jaemin explained everything: his unique ability to touch Yuri, the protein in his cells, and Do-yoon's theory about ancient contact between humans and frostwalkers. Dr. Sun-hai listened carefully. "Show me your hands," she said to Jaemin. He held them out. She examined his palms closely with a special light. "Interesting," she said. "The pattern of the protein distribution in your skin is not random. It forms specific shapes at the microscopic level." She pulled up an image on her screen. "Look familiar?" The image showed a microscopic view of Jaemin's skin cells. The special protein formed tiny geometric patterns. "Now look at this," said Dr. Sun-hai. She showed another image, a close-up of ice crystals from Yuri's skin. The patterns were similar. "What does this mean?" asked Jaemin. "It means your DNA has been purposely modified to match frostwalker biology," said Dr. Sun-hai. "This is not a natural mutation or leftover from evolution. Someone engineered this compatibility." "But who? And when?" asked Jaemin. Do-yoon spoke up. "According to old records I've found, there was a period during Earth's last ice age when strange blue visitors were mentioned in stories across many cultures. Most scientists dismiss these as myths, but what if they weren't? You think frostwalkers visited Earth thousands of years ago?" asked Jaemin. "Not just visited," said Dr. Sun-hai. "They may have helped humans survive the extreme cold, and in return, maybe humans helped them with something they needed." Yuri had been quiet, but now she spoke. "In our oldest stories, there is a tale of the warm ones who could touch us without dying. They helped us control our cold power." She looked at Jaemin. "What if those warm ones were humans?" Before they could discuss further, alarms sounded throughout the facility. "Unified systems ships have entered orbit," announced a voice over the speakers. "Everyone to emergency positions." Dr. Sun-hai moved quickly. "They found us faster than I expected. We need to move you two to a safer location." But it was too late. The doors burst open, and armed unified systems officers flooded, and at their head was Taehyun Choi. "There you are," he said coldly. "You've caused quite a lot of trouble." "Leave them alone," said Dr. Sun-hai, stepping forward. "You have no authority here." "I have all the authority I need," said Taehyun. "These two are vital to galactic security." He turned to his officers. "Take them." As the officers moved forward, Jaemin stepped closer to Yuri. "Stay behind me," he whispered. "It won't help," said Taehyun. "We're taking both of you for further study. The connection between humans and frostwalkers is too important to leave in your hands." "And what will you do with this knowledge?" demanded Jamin. Create weapons? Force Frostwalkers to serve you? We will do what is necessary for the greater good, said Tae-hyun. Now come with us, or we will take you by force. Two officers grabbed Jamin. Another approached Yuri cautiously, wearing special gloves to protect from her touch. In that moment, Jamin acted on instinct. He broke free and reached for Yuri's hand. Their fingers intertwined. Something incredible happened. Where their skin touched, a soft blue light began to glow. It spread up their arms and across their bodies. Yuri gasped, her eyes wide with wonder. "What's happening?" demanded Tae-hyun, backing away. The blue glow intensified. Jamin felt energy flowing between them, not just cold, but information, memories, feelings. Yuri's touch no longer felt cold to him, but warm and electric. "I understand now," whispered Yuri. This is what the old stories meant. Together, they stepped forward. The Unified Systems officers backed away in fear and confusion. "Listen carefully," said Jae-min, his voice somehow amplified by the energy flowing through him. Humans and Frostwalkers once worked together as partners, not as master and servant. The connection was forgotten, continued Yuri, but it was never truly lost. It's in our DNA, in our cellular memory. The blue glow between them pulsed brighter. "This is the truth that someone tried to erase from history," said Jae-min. "Humans don't just resist the Frostwalker touch, we complement it. Together, we are stronger than apart." Tae-hyun stared in shock. "Stop them," he ordered, but his officers were too afraid to move forward. Dr. Sun-hai stepped toward Jae-min and Yuri. "What you're showing us changes everything we thought we knew about both your species." The blue light finally faded. Jae-min and Yuri stood together, still holding hands. "You can't keep this secret anymore," Jae-min told Tae-hyun. "The truth about humans and Frostwalkers must be shared with everyone." 3 months later, on Harmony Bridge Station, a new section opened. It was specially designed for Frostwalkers, with living quarters, laboratories, and meeting rooms where they could safely interact with other species. Jae-min, now the official human ambassador to Nix-9, stood with Yuri as they greeted the first group of Frostwalker visitors. Each had a human partner who carried the special protein, now identified and activated in volunteers through safe medical procedures. "I never imagined this day would come," said Yuri, watching her people freely walking the station corridors. "It's just the beginning," said Jae-min, taking her hand. The familiar blue glow appeared where their skin touched. "There's so much more for our people to rediscover together." Captain Dae-sung approached them. "The Unified Systems Council has officially recognized the Human Frostwalker Cooperative," he said. "They're not happy about it, but after what you showed everyone, they couldn't deny the truth." Jae-min looked out at the stars through the station's large windows. Somewhere out there were more forgotten connections, more secrets waiting to be found. "Everyone she touched froze to death," he said softly. "Except the human, and that one exception changed everything." Yuri smiled, her crystal hair catching the light. "Not an exception," she corrected. "A reminder of what was always meant to be."